I know that you have to leave us, so I will give the floor to you now, and if you could give me your views, and also, particularly, in the case of Indonesia, how you've actually done to actually have this equality between men and women on the financial inclusion arena.
First, thank you very much, Queen Maxima, for a very strong commitment that you have, and I think also your visit to Indonesia, how many times you've already cannot count? 4 times? 5? Okay. And next time you have to enjoy the sea and also not just working. It's very meaningful for pushing this agenda on women and gender equality in Indonesia. I think the progress being made in Indonesia is mainly addressing the issue which is faced by the demand side, that is the woman side. The reason that they don't get the financial inclusion is first is because they are financially illiterate or digitally illiterate, especially now with the era in which digital economy playing a very important role in Indonesia. And you see that in Indonesia we have 4 very important unicorn that is start up to become a very big company like Gojek, Tokopedia, Bukalapak, Traveloka. That is really allowing this digital company to transform the economy in which the access and participation of many segments of the society used to be not connected to the market, now easily can be connected to the market. And mostly those benefiting from that digital economy and this company is actually women. So financial literacy and digital literacy has become a necessary condition for the woman to be now financially included. But of course, most of the character of the woman participation in the economy usually is informal sector. It is because suitable with their own constraint as a mother, in which they usually have to take all the domestic burden, and that's why they prefer to have a work which is not committed to the regular office hour. And that's why this digital economy providing a solution for this type of informal, mostly women. Now they can participate in the economy and they becoming also financially included. I think this is one of the elements for the Indonesian progress of improving or increasing the women participation and to be also included in financial activity and to have an account and also expanding. The latest survey by Accenture in 2017 showing that 73% of women using their mobile for actually expanding their business. From my conversation with many of the owners of this digital company in Indonesia, they also explained that more than 80% of their merchant is actually owned by individual women who never actually start business before. So this is really democratization of what you call it economic activity and boosting the opportunity for the women in Indonesia to then not only just financially included, but they also becoming economically empowered. But I also see the challenge for Indonesia, especially on the supply side. The dominance of the banking sector and the banking activity, which is quite still dominated by the brick and mortar, is actually creating a constraint for them to reaching out. So the one who's actually reaching out to the very remote, as well as in this case for women especially who lag behind, is because through the formal institution like banking, they cannot be efficient enough and have the ability to reaching up to the bottom 40% in this case. So this is one of the banking sector challenge for them to diversify their product, instrument, as well as business process in order for them to be able to reaching out to this woman. The second one is, I think, also related to the infrastructure. I mean, we are all here and we suffer from maybe lack of infrastructure here. But it's also the same like Indonesia. Indonesia is a big country, island country. Part of the island sometimes have this kind of electricity down. And when you talk about digital economy can solve the problem, They cannot solve when you are not connected because of the electricity, because of the satellite. So for Indonesia, infrastructure development has become a necessary condition for you to be able to allow all people in Indonesia, and especially women, especially in a remote area, that they have the access to the market through technology. So I think this is going to be the second on the challenge that need to be addressed, and that's why our government now is really focusing on building the connectivity, both through the hard infrastructure, road, power, as well as satellite, even in this case, as well as on the soft infrastructure, that is education as well as health. The third one, as you mentioned, that many women, especially because they are not in a level playing field, whether you are talking about inheritance law, whether you are talking about the access to the collateral, the asset of the asset, access to asset, and then more or fewer on the collateral, that's become the constraint for them to have a formal financial institution to be able to deal with them. So there is a regulatory framework that needs to be fixed in order for this regulation recognizing the constraint of women as well as the woman not in the same playing field as men. So that is maybe one of all this, what you call it, identifying both the opportunity but also at the same time the problem or the challenge that we still need continue to address. But so far, I think Indonesia is making a very good progress, and I'm very proud that all this systematically has been actually done. Maybe last thing before I can give my comment, on the government or Ministry of Finance side, because I'm Finance Minister, so at least we have to make sure that we also push this gender agenda, equality agenda within our own fiscal policy. We start with initiating budget tagging. So we want to identify how much rupiah, our money, is actually really benefiting. As you mentioned about data, this is going to be one of the starting point of really making sure that how much money is actually benefiting based on a gender type. The second one is actually we try to push more, and this is I think borrowed from Prime Minister Trudeau, that we want to just not just budget taking, but now asking much harder question. If you spend this much money for this program, who's really getting benefit of this program? Is it you put the gender dimension, that is woman, which is actually have a more constraint to benefit for the government program. So I'm now trying to develop not only just the impact or result evaluation, but also a result which is based on this gender disaggregated. I think with that, with the data, you are going to be able to then come up to the more public communication as well as awareness, that you are not going to just take it for granted that the program will be neutral, that is going to be benefit equally between men and women or girls and boys, but you really have to design it in a way that you recognize the difference between them. This is going to be a starting point, and I'm hoping that Indonesia can become a champion in really producing this kind of data. On our own office, we start now having a policy of paternity leave that is quite radical for Indonesia. Maternity leave, I think some country even not having that. So we have that, and then we also provide more the childcare and many of the facility, especially for the young woman career in the Ministry of Finance, that they are not going to be dropped off only because of they are having children. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Giving, and I really wanted to have the Indonesia example coming in. I know you have to leave us, so thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you so much.